So can you first state your name, what course you're on, where you're from, something like that.
Do I talk to you or do I talk to the camera?
Talk to me or the camera.
No, I prefer talking to you. Okay, so I'm Mathilde. I'm 22, almost 23 years old, and I'm from Portugal. And I'm studying MA Fashion Journalism at London College of Fashion.
So can you tell us something about your course?
Our like the course MA Fashion Journalism? Like what we're learning?
Yes.
We're learning basically everything that comes with doing a magazine, from content to design to collaboration. Basically, we learn everything that comes with starting a publication, and maybe from here following the publication and create something for your future, like something to showcase your work, or even something that you can develop into a professional thing.
Why did you choose this course?
Why? That's a tough question. Well, no, but because mostly I had 1 year off after my BA, and I was doing internships and things that I didn't like, mostly related to public relations. But I knew that I've always loved fashion, and I've always loved writing. So coming to London and London College of Fashion was obviously like a dream, like something that I could not accomplish at first, I thought. But then I was like, my father pressured me to choose a master's degree, and it was either London or New York, and I thought, okay, I'll apply to London. But I thought, in my head, I was never gonna get this, never. And I applied to Central St. Martin's Fashion Communication, I think it was the name of the MA, and I got rejected. And I thought, okay, this is impossible, but I'll try again. And I applied to MA Fashion Journalism, and it was really, really early on, and they actually postponed my application, so it was a really long process. But I chose it mostly because, not only because obviously the reputation of the school, but also because London is a multicultural city, and you can like sort of drink knowledge from a lot of places, and you can grow yourself as a person, and obviously as a fashion enthusiast, this is the right place to be.
So how is your general experience here?
I
Learning or living in London?
Yeah, well, speaking about the course specifically, I really, really love it. I think it's giving me exactly what I need and the tools that I need to pursue this dream, I guess. And I think I feel honestly blessed. This is really cheesy, but it's exactly how I feel. I feel that it's an opportunity, and you need to take every little bit of that, what it gives you. And in terms of London, obviously I love being here. I think it's a very fast-paced city. Everything happens really, really fast, and sometimes you get a bit overwhelmed about everything, because, you know, coming from Portugal, it's literally Portugal inside the city.
Can you give me an example? What type of thing will overwhelm you?
Like I don't get overwhelmed by people. It's just that it's really fast and there's a lot of competition, and you feel that there's always someone that's going to be better than you. It's hard because there's a lot of people, and even though you might consider yourself like an intelligent person that knows what she's doing, there's always gotta be somebody that does it better or that does more. And I feel that's the main difference from Portugal, where you really don't have that much competition, but you don't also have that much opportunities. So
like now it's like 7 months in for the course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you accomplished any project or homeworks?
No, the only thing I did was the magazine, the past magazine, the project we had on.
Yes.
I did the playground. The playground magazine was about vintage and secondhand, and basically how to kind of like a sustainable way of approaching fashion, like seeing the good in secondhand, trying to educate on how to choose the best and how to focus your eye when you're inside a thrift shop. It was mostly about secondhand, and that's all I did actually until now. And what other projects? I'm volunteering at a secondhand shop, so it's following again that thing, because I like secondhand. And
you like it after you came to London?
No. It's an ongoing thing. When I was a child, my grandmother used to take me to markets in Portugal, small markets, like we have gypsy markets where gypsies sell their things, and so I was never like afraid of secondhand. It always come really natural to me. And if when I visit another city, the first thing I Google is best secondhand, best vintage shops in whatever city I'm in, because it really gives you, because the garment tells a story. It comes from another person, so you have some story of the other person, and you're gonna build a little bit more of your story inside the object, and it goes on, and maybe you get sick of it and you give it again to charity, and it's a cycle, yeah.
So I'm sure you will be able to give us an exciting list of vintage shop here in London, right? But let's talk about that later. So, are there any difficulties or challenge during the course?
Yes, I think the most difficult challenge, I think, is mostly believing in yourself and not compare yourself to others all the time, because sometimes in class I might feel that someone knows this more, on when the teacher asks something and that he says I should know, and in my head I'm like, I don't know this, and then someone else knows it, and in my head I'm like, why don't know this thing? I should know this thing by now. And for example, basics things like who's the fashion editor of whatever publication, and I have no clue. And sometimes that is the hard part, is just know your value and separate you from others, and put things in perspective, because everybody has different backgrounds and everybody has the
way you tackle this problem is like to focus on your own strength.
Yeah, on your own strength. Yeah, see what you can do well, and improve on that. What do you really like? What is it that you love and that you think you do really well? Even if there's someone that does it that you think maybe can do better than you, there's no problem, because you focus on improving yourself and learning from your mistakes and moving on from there. So
perfect. So what will Mathilde be maybe a year from now or 5 years from now?
Where would I be
Yeah, what will you be doing in the future?
in the future? My ideal. I would definitely like to be working in a magazine. I would like to be sharing my point of view and having like I don't know. I want to stay true to myself, like definitely, and I want to be writing and maybe styling. I don't know. But I would also in a future, maybe more than 5 years, I would like to have my own project, whether that's accessories. I don't do the design, but like thinking about
You like
about
have your own accessory line.
yeah, maybe, but like later on
Yeah,
when you know. But first, definitely experience in writing and fashion.
So, in terms of writing or
features.
like styling, do you have a preference or you're interested in them both?
I'm interested in both, but every time I write, I don't know that if that in English translates really well. But when I write in Portuguese, people really, at least the feedback that I get when I had my blog and when I write small articles for websites in Portugal, what the feedback that I get is that my writing is really, you can really tell that it's me that's writing, even if it's not written my name under the text. You know that it's me because of my sense of humor and sarcastic way of putting things together. So I think writing is really a passion, but styling is like I get really excited about clothes and putting clothes together. So I don't know what I
Are you
like.
still running the blog?
Just
30 minutes up.
No, just 10. I just want to move closer. We don't need to restart. Just keep on going.
Do I keep up my blog?
Yeah.
No, because I am really lazy as a person, and I have to have pressure on me to do something, which is a really bad thing. But like, if you don't tell me you have to hand in this in a week, I will postpone it.
Do your blog have a specific theme or it's just your personal?
It's just storytelling. The thing with me is that I love fashion, but I don't focus on fashion only. I like to make fashion like included in my life, but like in a fun way, and like mostly I like telling people stories and hearing other people's stories. So, and experiences.
Have you been doing any styling jobs? Or?
Yes, I've done in Portugal. I've done a styling course in Portugal actually, and I've done the work for that course, the final work, let's say, and I've done the styling for the other magazine, and I used to go to help the stylist in a television show in Portugal, but it was like a really, I was not inside the.
Pictures from that
What?
time we can use? Do you have
No, I don't think so, because it was really like, it was, you know, one of those talk shows where old people listen to. I was the person in the background making sure the model wouldn't show their panties on national television. So that was me.
Okay.
Not very important.
So do you have do you have a favorite stylist or an editor?
See, that comes the hard questions. I should have prepared this. Stylist. I like Mimi Cottrell, the ones that dresses Gigi Hadid and a lot of other celebrities. And I like that. Is she Russian stylist that does Balenciaga? I think she does Balenciaga. Who does she? Or Vêtements? Or I think it's a Russian stylist. And as editor, I really don't know. I used to like Anna Della Russo of Vogue Japan, but now I think that she stopped really doing stuff. I'm not sure, but I don't really follow editors closely, I guess.
Ask a little general question. What do you think good fashion is? What's fashion?
What's fashion? Fashion is, to me, is telling a story through your clothing. Is like entering a room and somebody knows something about you without even talking to you, without the need to have a conversation and have words, because for example, I don't know, it really says what you like, what you don't like through your clothes, and it's ultimately it's the first impression that you give to people when you come up to someone. You can be in your pajamas, but you can also be really fancy and luxurious, and that's gonna give an idea of you to the other person. So that's mostly, but also fashion is also, when I see real fashion on magazines, to me is like a dreamy world. It's like an aspirational place where when I see beautiful pictures on magazines, models dressing these Elisa dresses and everything, I think that it's like a dream world. And it also, when you're wearing like a beautiful dress, something that makes you feel confident, it shows, and I'm missing the word. It translates into like something. If you're feeling good with your clothes, with yourself, you do good things. I don't know if it's you know, if I'm getting to the point, but it's
well.
like.
So like in terms of the course you're on, which is MA Fashion Journalism,
Yes.
is there anything I left out that you would want to add?
No, I think that our course is really good, and I think sometimes we may underestimate it and let it go too fast, because we're already 7 months and it feels like yesterday that we started. And sometimes you need to really appreciate the moment and like see how important and how special you are, or each one of us is, for being here. And that's kind of like my thought right now.
Okay, and let's move on to talk about London. How long have you been here?
I've been here since August. Yes, August last year.
Before that, have you ever
Yes,
visited
yes. I've
London?
been in London 3 times before that, visiting friends and visiting London
But it's,
by myself.
living here and visiting any
It's not the same. It's not the same thing. Living here, it's sometimes it's very like not personal, because it's everyone minds their own business, and which is not bad actually in some ways, but in others it feels very impersonal. When you come from outside for the first time and you see the city as a tourist, you're like, well, that's a cool city. It has a lot of different nationalities. You can see a lot of people. But like living in here for a long time, Also, the weather is something that is really annoying for me because I come from Portugal where you in the winter have 15 degrees and that's the minimum temperature. So
Does the city influence you in any way?
yeah, sure. It's mainly it influences you to be yourself a lot. Like London gives you the tools, gives you the space, gives you everything so you can literally be yourself and like dress whatever the hell you like. No one's gonna care if you're like in wearing the weirdest thing in the tube because everybody just does is her own thing. So it's very in that case it's very unpersonal, but it's very personal in that way in that you feel included. There's a space for everyone here.
So where do you usually hang out, or which area?
Well, in Camden because I live in Chalk Farm, so it's really close by Camden. That's mostly the area where I go. Camden Assembly, Gardens, and
What's Camden Assembly?
a Camden Assembly. It's a pub. It's a pub where you have like kind of like a pub thing, and then upstairs you have disco, like kind of music at night. But yeah, usually I think it's there, and also Oxford Circus and how do you call it? Carnaby. I really like Carnaby area. Where else? I think that's all. I pretty much go a little bit everywhere.
You just say Camden Assembly
And then the gardens and the stables in Camden where you go for thrift shop, the Camden stables. And then here Carnaby, which is there, or Chinatown. I really love Chinatown. To go for Peking duck and food mainly. Where for food?
Yes.
Where I went to this place called the Crispy Duck, I think. That was really nice. And in to get food, but also there's Pret, which is not very British, but you know.
So no, that I have to ask you again. Favorite places?
Favorite places in London? Definitely Chinatown, one of them. Then Chelsea, because it's really posh.
Are there like any specific store you like to go in Chelsea?
In Chelsea, it's not like it's a charity shop, but it's the British Art Foundation. I think it's called the British Art Foundation, which has only designer clothes because since it's a really posh area of London, people donate good stuff. So it's a good place to go for like higher level secondhand. That's one of the places that I go in Chelsea, but also in Camden. In Camden, there's a small thrift store that's also really good that I go to all the time. And in general, favorite place, I don't really have favorite places because mostly what I do is stroll around town. When I have my boyfriend here, we go a little bit everywhere. We do not stop at places specifically.
So are there any places or events you're planning on going to?
Planning on going to, I want to go to the Alaya exhibition. Azadine Alaya is coming to the Design Museum, I think. And also Frida Kahlo is coming to an exhibition on, I think, Victoria and Albert Museum. And I recently attended a photography exhibition in Barbican Center called Life on the Margins, which was really, really nice, and I really recommend it. It's on until the end of May, I think. And Yeah, and I think that's what I plan to go recently.
And if you can only suggest tourists one place in London, where do you suggest them to go?
Like a shop or like a place?
A place, a shop?
A shop, definitely.
A tourist site. If there's only one tourist site.
Tourist site. If there's
What's like the most iconic tourist site in London you think tourists cannot miss?
Well, Arrods.
Huh?
Arrods.
What's that?
Harrods,
Harrods.
Yes, the department store. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, it's not like a thing. Yeah, but like, I don't know. Honestly, well, the Big Ben and London Eye and those kinds of.
Pick one.
Pick one, but it has to have a meaning.
Okay. But you had a shop in mind.
Yeah, I had a
Which
shop
one?
in mind. It's called Retromania. It's in Victoria, near Victoria Tube Station. It's the best store that I've been in, like, not only in London, I think
What do they sell?
a lot of them. They sell secondhand. First, it's a charity shop, so it's focused on vintage only, but it's a charity shop, so the prices are really nice, and you can find like Burberry, Yves Saint Laurent, Chanel, whatever, and for when I mean really good prices. And it's really like curated selection. It's really, really good, and it has a basement with bar game. So that would be my choice.
Okay. Other than the weather, is there anything you dislike about the city? Or places you never go again?
Besides the weather, I think English people sometimes might be also a little bit weird, but you know, you have to deal with that, I guess.
Okay. Living in London can be quite expensive. Do you have any money saving tips?
Money saving tips.
If they're going to live here?
Yeah. I would say do not eat out. Because like, no, but for real, like if you start, because there's a lot of choice and there's a lot of good places to go eat, and I love food, so it's easy for me to spend money on food, but it's really, really expensive if you start like eating your lunch somewhere every day. It gets to a point where it's like you can't. So it's...
Do you have any fun experience in the city?
In the city.
Like a specific...
I don't know. I don't think I've had the funniest experience. Well, when
Have you ever been stopped by a police officer?
No, but I saw a fight on the street once with a police officer. Oh, no, my neighborhood is full of police, like when they come in a group. It happens a lot of time. Actually, it's like the third time that happens, and I'm like on the window, like watching a movie, like 3 vans of police officers, and they all come out with like wearing how do you call it? Like lifesaver things. And they try to, I think there's drugs on my street, that's why the police officers come, and I get really excited and I want like to see what's happening, and I go on the window and I'm like a real old lady staring at what's outside when they're looking on the grass and seeing if there's drugs and stuff. I love that. I definitely shop a lot more online here in London than I used to shop in Portugal, because here you have a lot of like it's easy to, it's free shipping, it's free returns, you have a lot of like, it's very easy to shop online, and it's just why bother going to the store when you can like compare things online. It's really like comfortable mostly.